What's up, guys? We got a question from our buddy Tony here. He's got a long question, so I'm going to try to break it down and give you the bones of it. He says that he's a young guy in his early 20s. He's been training for over 6 years. Most of that was 5 to 6 days a week of training. And he says that he's had some negative feelings associated with training recently because what's happened is he got his belts pretty quickly. He says that because of that, he felt a lot of expectations being put on his shoulders, right? And because he was holding on to this identity and he has to uphold that identity. Because of that, one, he felt like he got his belts too quickly and he resents his coach a little bit. And with all that pressure that he's put on himself, he's experiencing anxiety, self-doubt. He's starting to burn out at jiu-jitsu, and he, just has a lot of negative feelings associated with training. So much so that he doesn't even want to train. Now, later on, he went to school, to college, and his college has a program for jiu-jitsu. And so he was like, I'll train there. That'll be awesome. It'd be a change of scenery and be able to shake things up a little bit. I'll be able to escape my problems. He says that when he started training at the school, went well for about a month, and then it quickly reverted back to these negative feelings being associated with training. And so now he's in this sort of situation where when he goes home, he doesn't want to train. His coach is like, hey man, get back in the gym. And then when he's back at school, he doesn't want to train because he's just like, it's all negative to him. And he doesn't know how to get over this negative feeling associated with training. Just wonder if I have any advice. So, brother, thank you for the question. I don't relate with you in some ways because training's always been something where it was a non-negotiable for me. I had to do it, right? I couldn't be without it. I'm addicted, right? I feel like I'm addicted to training. That said, I did experience some of the things that you're talking about, and I'll sort of share those, and maybe this will be of help to you. So when I started training in May of 2003, I received my blue belt in April of 2004. Now, there was a big chunk of time where I was not training at all. So it was probably, if you want to consider like training inside an actual gym, about 6 months of training. I got my blue belt. I thought it was a little too soon, but I trusted my coach. I went to my first tournament, and I remember going there, losing my first match, and I instantly got up and I blamed my coach. I was like, man, you promoted me too fast. And I just sort of got all aggressive with him about it. And later on in that tournament, I actually did pretty well in some of the other brackets. Now, then I got my purple belt in 2006 in February. So again, another short period of time for that belt. And as a purple belt, the nasty part about it is that you get into tournaments with guys there, and they're like they're black belts in some areas, right? You get to a good purple belt, he's got a black belt or she's got a black belt area of their game. Amidams. They've got a part of their game that's like a black belt level. And so I was going to these tournaments just getting chewed up from these people. I'd win sometimes, but most of the time I had a pretty rough competition career as purple belt. And I blame my coach for promoting me too soon. Now, along the way, I had built myself up to be one of the best guys in the gym. And because of that, a lot of pressure, right? I had to uphold an expectation. So when I was training, I had to win. When I was competing, I had to try to win, right? And this was really negative in the gym because when I would walk into the gym, it was never just like, I'm coming in to train, it's gonna be a good day, smiling. I would be going to the gym, like listening to music, trying to amp myself up. I'm like, cause it's gonna be a hard day, man. I gotta get after it. Right? There was not like an easy day of training where you're just like happy to be there. I was happy to be there, but at the same time, I had to get myself pumped up to build myself up because I had to get ready to uphold that expectation. A lot of pressure. Eventually, there's some things that happened in the gym, and I ended up moving to this gym in 2007. And when I moved to this gym, I was expecting the same thing you were. I was like, man, I'm going to leave all that negativity behind, all that pressure that I have on myself, and I'll be able to just come in and have a good time. Not really, because just like you, the problems weren't with my coach, right? There were some problems with my coach that forced me to leave, but the problems of the negativity with training and having to pump myself up and uphold an expectation, all this stuff, those problems were not from my coach. Those problems came from me. And it's the same way with you. This is why you traveled to a different gym, and the problems that you left, that you thought you left back at home, that they were right there next to you the whole time. And so the thing you got to understand, brother, is that the problems that you're having there, they're put onto you by your own self, right? You're putting the expectation on yourself. One of the biggest lessons I had to come to was when I got here was my coaches, Colin and Kyle, came up to me and they were like, look, man, you got to let go, right? You got to let go of this idea you always got to win. Because again, I came into this gym, and even though I hadn't been here that long, I was still one of the better guys, and a lot of the guys in here knew me already from training here during open mats, and so I already had a reputation here. And so, again, I had to uphold that identity that I had become attached to. And they told me, look, man, you got to let go of that stuff. You just got to train, and you got to play with new weapons, because you're never going to get any better if you just hang on to what's working and just try to win all the time. It was the most important thing, probably one of the most important things I've learned about training, because, again, once I let go of that expectation that I thought that I had to uphold, I was able to play around with new stuff, try new weapons, and I could roll without even caring about it, right? And then initially there was a dip in my game, and then eventually it shot back up. And training took on a new life of its own. It went from being this thing where I always had to push myself and get after it and be very aggressive to, there's days where I got to push myself, but a lot of times I can come in just because I want to be there, and I can just enjoy it, and it can be this nice, fun-filled experience. And so for you, Tony, getting back to it, I know I kind of diverted off there for a second. Your problems that you're experiencing, they're not from your coach. They're not from the club at your school. They're within you. And so you've got to let go of those. You got to take the advice that my coaches said, and you just got to let go. This expectation that you have for yourself to uphold some sort of rank or uphold some identity, that's all on you, man. So you got to let go of that. That's going to be the smartest thing for you to do. There's no easy way to do it. It'll take time. But my sort of advice, the thing that helped me, was to focus on just pick some techniques, go to the gym and train, be ready to be submitted, be ready to be squashed, be ready to be crushed, and be okay with that. And then allow yourself to just relax a little bit and enjoy it. So, hope this helps you, brother.